Hey, what's up, guys? Another video from Sleep City Performance. I know it's been a while. Had a lot of things going on, I had to handle. But today we're not actually doing any car reviews or anything like that. What we're going to do is talk about you actually buying a car. I used to sell cars, so I think that it's only fair that, I give people the lowdown and also, give them some inside tips on how to purchase a new or used vehicle. Now, we're going to go through how to purchase it from a dealership or also purchase it from a private seller. So with the dealership, when you walk in, pretty much, you normally will have a salesman up you, which is pretty much, coming to greet you, welcome you to the dealership, ask you if you need drinks or, anything that you need to do to make you feel comfortable. Either way, a good salesman would do that. Not everybody do that. A lot of guys are quick to try to get the quick sale. But normally what happens is, after that, you sit down, they try to see what you are there for, your needs and what you need. Now, one thing I would say is that a lot of times when people go to dealerships, they have in their mind that they really need something like a Corolla. But once they get there, they want an Avalon. And they want all these features in like an Avalon, but want to spend Corolla money. One thing I would tell you is be realistic about your goals. When you go in there, have a set mind of what you want to spend monthly and insurance-wise, because you are required to have full coverage insurance when you get a car from a dealership. No liability there. So keep in mind your goals, because that is a commitment you're going to have to make at least for 5, 6, or even 7 years, depending on, how long your term is. So with that being said, always keep in mind of that. So next, what they do is, they ask you if you have a trade. Now, a lot of times people have a trade and they go in there with a 95 Neon expecting to get $2,500 from it. It's not going to happen. The way dealerships work is they look at what they can buy the car for in auction. They don't go by Kelley Blue Book value. They look for what they can buy it in auction, because dealers don't pay retail for anything. And we're going to get back to that. So keep in mind, if your car has, issues, body damage, the interior's mangled, if you have high mileage, you're not looking, to get full value for your car. You might get $400 or $500 for it, depending on the make and model. It is, if you have something of a higher luxury and is in good condition, then now we're talking about thousands. So once, you take a look at the car, one thing, you want to make sure that your salesman paid attention to what you were saying as far as your needs. You don't want them to feel like they're baiting and switching you to another car. So you want to make sure you have your needs met. If you want something like Bluetooth, if you want navigation, or you want leather seats or cloth seats, you want to make sure that you have those features, sunroof, things like that. And you pay attention to that. You pay attention to whether the salesman actually listened to you. Then if that's something that you like and you want to move ahead on the process, the next step is a credit app. Now, with dealerships, I can say I have gotten people approved that had 400 credit scores, 450s, 460s. Dealerships can always get you approved. It's about how much they want to move the unit, or, if it's the end of the month, if it's the end of the year, they're trying to, move as many units as possible, so banks are more willing to step in to get the business. And now, if you know that your credit score is low, and I advise you to look at, Credit Karma, even though sometimes the scores on there are a little inflated. You can use that for, a general understanding of where your credit is at. Run your Experian or your Equifax. Dealerships go by FICO. That's where they run your credit through. They get your FICO score, and they normally go by Experian. So with that being said, you want to get a general amount of where you're at. If you're in the 4s, and if you're anything under 650, expect to put a lot of money down or have a cosigner. If you have a strong cosigner, someone that wants to cosign with you or help you out, bring them to the dealership. If you have X amount of dollars, you expect to at least, with anything under 650, you're expecting to at least put at least $3-4 grand down. Now, the higher your credit score is, the more willing the banks are willing to work with you. Now, once you get your credit ran, now you have two different options if you're going for a new car. I always tell people to try to go for the new car first, because a lot of times, people will think that because they're getting a used car, that they're actually getting a car that's they're getting a better deal because the price is lower. But in essence, you're not. You're actually paying more, because a used car allows them to hike the interest rate up. Excuse me, my hands are dirty, was working on a car. But it causes them to hike the interest rate up. So yeah, you might see a Corolla for $12,000, but if you're paying like 8 or 9% or anything over that, if your credit is under that 650, now you're looking at paying damn near 18% on a car. And that you will end up paying close to $40,000 for that car over the term of the loan, just in interest alone. And it ends up hurting you in the long run, because what happens if 5 years down the line, something happens to that car that you bought with 70 or 80,000 miles on it, and now you need a new engine or transmission, but now you're still forced to pay the note. So a lot of times I tell people to try to go to the new car first, because with new cars, they have lower interest rates. Yeah, the price is higher, but if the interest rate is lower, you're paying the same amount of money, and on top of that, you're getting a newer vehicle. So you try your luck with a car that has, anywhere from 5 to 100 miles on it. Sometimes you look and see if they got a dealer demo, a car that a manager has driven that may have 2,000 or 3,000 miles on it. Sometimes they cut deals on those. So you look for those. That's still essentially a new car, it just has some miles on it because the manager drove it. But always try to go for the new car first. Just mainly because interest rates are lower, and on top of that, you get a lot of times now the dealerships are now giving out maintenance programs, free oil changes, free tire rotations, free inspections, depending on what state you live in. So always try to get the new car. If you have to get a used car, that's fine, but you also want to check and make sure that the interest rate is good. Now, if everything is all good and done, and you're done with, pretty much getting approved for the car, and they're negotiating payment and stuff like that, you always want to try to negotiate on the price of the car. Mainly because if you go on the internet, you can get the internet price of the car, and you also do your research and see what the dealership or a neighborhood dealership is selling a similar car like that for, because a lot of times that dealership will match that other car price just to have you still have that business. So do that as well. A dealership would rather move a car than to not move a car and not have business, not get bonuses from the manufacturer or whatever the parenting company is for not selling the car. So keep that in your back pocket too. Now, let's say you've done everything on the payment wise, you agree with the payment, you agree with what they traded in, now you go into the finance office. Finance office, they always try to sell you extra stuff. If the salesman couldn't sell you extra things like, will and tire package, then the finance office is going to try to do that. On top of signing you up with paper, they're going to try to sell you the will and tire package. They're going to try to sell you an extended warranty. They try to sell you gap insurance. The only thing that I do recommend getting is gap insurance. The extended warranty, if you have a new car, you don't need an extended warranty. Maybe if you have a used car with some mileage and the warranty is running out from the manufacturer, then you purchase an extended warranty. But I would honestly do that on my own, because dealerships, again, bringing it back to the retail thing. Dealerships do not pay retail for anything. So what they're charging you for, it costs them less. For example, I knew with the dealership that I work with gap insurance, it only cost the dealership $130 to insure you with gap insurance. But we have sold it to people for $1,500. We have sold it for $2,000 to, things like that. The warranties, it only cost my dealership that I worked at about $400 to do it, but we sold it for $2,500. So only thing I would invest in really is gap insurance, but also a lot of times you can get that through your insurance company. And gap insurance is for the people that love getting in accidents, or if you end up getting in an accident, and gap insurance covers the gap. And what I mean by that is that if you got into an accident and let's say you owe $25,000 on the car, but the insurance company is only going to pay out 17 grand for the car, you have that gap left of what you owe. If you don't have gap insurance, then you are still left paying for a car that you don't have. So gap insurance covers that gap. So this way you're free and clear of the car. So that's the only thing I really advise getting. And also, again, with the insurance companies and stuff like that, you can also, you can do all this stuff on your own. You can, excuse me, I'm putting a charger on my phone. You can purchase extended warranties and gap insurance on your own, so you can essentially go to the dealership and don't have to pay nothing except for what you want to pay. I advise people doing all that stuff just to save money. Times are hard now. Now, if you were looking for a used car, going to private sale, one of the things I like to do is I look at a couple different cars that are the same cars. So if you're looking for a Honda Civic, look at 3 Honda Civics of the same year, just so you can test drive them and get the feel for which one is the best one, because people do lie when they're selling cars. The main thing you want to do, and this, counts for both sexes, male and female. If you don't know nothing about cars, the main thing you want to do is get one of these. If you can, get one of these, a scanner. This one is by Millennium 90 Pro. You can find them online anywhere between 150 to 200 bucks. But that system right there, it can read every computer in the car. It can even pull up scans if people have deleted scans. So one thing you want to do is get an engine scanner, because a lot of times people turn the bulb off. So you still want to be able to read the light. You want to pop the hood. You want to check your fluids, your oil changes, your oil change. You want to check the oil color. You want to check the antifreeze, brake fluid. You want to look and make sure it looks straight. A lot of times cars have engine mounts on the front of the car. On the side of the engine. You want to put your hand on there and shake it and see if you can move that engine. Another thing is that you don't want to drive a car that someone has already warmed up for you. Meaning the car was running when you got there. No, you want to hear it from a cold start. The reason why I say that is because you want to hear if at startup there's piston slapping or there's chatter. Because a lot of times when cars get warmed up, they don't make those sounds no more. So you want to hear if there's piston slap, valve lash stuff happening at the top of the valve train. You want to hear all that stuff from a cold start. So tell them, don't start the car. You want to hear it from cold. If they're not willing to do that, don't see the car. And then another thing, so the next step is you want to get to all 4 corners of the cars where the wheel is at. You want to press down as much as you can. If it's very, very bouncy, that car needs struts. And you can discount for that. You want to check all your windows. You want to also look at your brakes. Now, this is a little bit more difficult if you don't know what you're looking at. But normally, if a car has aluminum wheels and spokes on the wheels, you can take a look at the brakes through the under the brake caliper, and you can see if the rotor, the little silver part that's on the tire, that's under the tire, that the brakes are attached to, that clamp. You want to see if they have ridges in it. If you could take your nail in it and you can drag it across and feel ridges, them brakes, most likely they were bad. Somebody ran them down to the metal and they might have just replaced them with the pads. So you also want to sit there and take a look at the pads and see if the pads are low. Another thing is you want to take a look at the tires and make sure that it has enough tread on there. If the tires are bald and it looks like like a bald head, you want to discount for that too. Now the next thing is you want to take a drive. You want to take a look at the interior, see how they're taking care of the car. Make sure it wasn't smoked in. Now when you put the car in gear, you want to put it in reverse and drive, and just do that. Keep doing that a couple times. If it takes long, more than a couple seconds for the car to go in gear, you feel it go in gear, then that means that trans is on its way out. So you don't want to buy a car like that, and because you're going to have trans problems down the line. Now when you want to test drive, you want to one thing I always do is I floor the car. I want to see how it picks up. I want to see how the trans shifts under pressure. And then I also will hit a pothole. I will hit a bump just to see how the suspension acts. If you hear a bunch of clanking or the car loses control, then you know that that car has suspension issues. Another thing is you want to do a full stop from maybe from 40 to 0 and see how the car stops from there. If it doesn't stop like that, then maybe you need brakes replaced, you need new calipers, new rotors, or something like that. All the stuff you can do to help you discount the car if you still want to keep it or decide to walk away. I hope that, with me explaining this video, me explaining a couple things, that you make informed decisions, and that, it helps somebody out in the future. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more things I can talk about with cars and checking them out, but that to me is like the most important. That's the most general basis, and things that what to look for when you go looking for cars and stuff like that. If you guys have any more questions, let me know. Hit me up on the inbox or leave it in the comments. And then also, if you like what I'm talking about and you like everything that I'm doing, please hit the subscribe button. Definitely need more followers. It allows me to put out more content. Makes me want to put out more content, just knowing that I have people, that want to hear what I have to say. So, again, you guys have a nice day. This is Sleep City Performance. I do have some more car reviews coming up. Next car review, 2018 Infiniti Q50 with a 3.0 twin turbo. Also, 2018 Honda Pilot. I do have a Hellcat that's in the making. That's going to be a car review. So we do have some good reviews coming up. So please subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video.